Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and today I'm going to talk about the 5 types of art teachers that you meet at art school. So the first type of art teacher that I met was the super strict and super precise teacher. These types of teachers seem to have magical eyes that can detect even the smallest shifts in pigments, even the tiniest little mistakes in your art, and they're generally pretty terrifying. They're stern and strict, and they never crack a smile, and they almost never give out A's. They're usually dressed immaculately with perfect hair and perfect clothes, and if you find their Instagram, you might find many pictures of their desk with every supply on their desk perfectly organized in a perfect row. And the shocking part about that is that it's not just for Instagram. If you watch them actually work, that's just how their desk always is. It's crazy. These are usually the teachers that new students are most afraid of, but that's actually a mistake because deep down, these are often the teachers who care the most about the students once you've spent some time with them. They oftentimes are super strict and really harsh because they are actually caring how you develop, and in their own way, they think that the best way to make sure that you strive to be better so that you can actually get a job is to be super strict and hard on you and to nitpick every little thing. Now, the pros of having this type of teacher are that you're going to improve faster in this class than you are in any of the others because you're just terrified to do anything less than your best because you know that no matter how small your mistake is, that you gotta fix it because they will definitely see it. The other pro is, like I said, that these teachers actually seem to care a lot, and even though it comes off kind of harsh and intense, that can actually be something that's really comforting down the line later in your art career. The cons are, of course, that you're going to be probably pretty demoralized in these classes. The best critique you can get from these types of teachers are usually ones that are just short, because these types of teachers tend to see critique as a time to say things that need to be worked on. So the best crit that you could ever expect to get is one that's just very short. The next type of teacher is the Bob Ross. There's a lot of these, and I think that this is the stereotype that most people who aren't super familiar with art school naturally tend to have. These types of teachers are kind of space cadets. They think that experimentation is king and everything else comes after. They are always covered in paint, and they're not really scared of the toxicity of paint. I think that they actually consume paint because they paint so wildly and with such abandon. They also tend to run their classes very wildly. Sometimes they will cut classes like hours and hours shorter than they are supposed to be. Sometimes they'll take you outside just because it's a nice day, even if it doesn't make any sense for what you're supposed to be learning that day. And generally, they just tell you advice like paint the music and do what you believe in your heart and that kind of thing, which is very interesting advice and very different than the first teacher. The pros of this kind of teacher are varied. So the first pro is that you're probably going to be taken out of your comfort zone in a good way. The class is going to probably feel very low stakes, and it's usually very easy to get A's in classes with these types of teachers because they see the journey as more important than the final product, which is great if you're a newbie. Also, you, like I said, sometimes get to go outside and just break up your routine, which can be really nice if you're used to being stuck inside on long studio courses. These are usually the types of teachers who don't really worry too much about that. The cons are that you're probably not going to learn anything technically in this class. You will probably learn more about yourself than you will about painting or drawing or whatever it is that they're supposed to be teaching you, because they're kind of in their own zone over there. And like I said, they're probably more interested in having you finger paint or do weird stuff or, basically just experiments than they are in actually having you learn some classical arts education. The next type of teacher is definitely a trope in any type of school, but I definitely noticed it very clearly in art school, and that is the teacher who's still trying to be cool with the kids. I don't know why this was such an issue with a certain teacher at my school, but let's just say he literally longboarded a hole in the wall of our class while he was supposed to be teaching us. So if that's not some kind of stereotype, I don't know what is. So basically this type of teacher is still living the glory days of when they were a student, and they just want to be your friend. They kind of want to be considered the cool teacher. They want to be considered not like the other teachers. If they have to do anything sort of strict or that reflects the administration of the school or something, they'll always blame it on the administration. Like if they have to enforce a late penalty on an assignment or something, they'll be quick to say that that's just because the administration forces it, and they're not like that. It's just the school. So the pros with this kind of teacher are that they can be fun, and they can definitely create a really laid-back atmosphere in class, a different type of laid-back atmosphere than, say, the Bob Ross type teacher, but laid back nonetheless. But the cons are that usually they're so busy trying to be friends with everyone that they don't give good critique, and in general it just throws off the whole teacher-student relationship and can exacerbate weird teacher-student crushes and things that just shouldn't be happening in the first place. The next type is really frustrating to deal with. Now, this is the type of teacher that only wants to talk about their own work and considers their own practice to be really the only type of practice that's really valuable. I had 2 teachers in my time at ACAD who were like this in very different ways. So in the first way, I had a painting instructor who basically was really into abstraction, which is cool. But essentially what that meant was that if you did anything in her class that wasn't abstraction, even though it was just a general painting course where you were supposed to be able to paint whatever you like, if it wasn't abstract painting, she basically had no interest in it, and she openly showed total disdain for any type of figurative art because she was super into abstract art. And basically she just showed her own work as an example of what is good painting and nothing else. And then I had another teacher who taught a humanities course, and he decided that instead of teaching our class what we were actually supposed to be learning, he would just read us chapters out of his own thesis from back when he was at college. So that was pretty terrible. It wasn't even related to what the class was supposed to be, which was the worst part. So the pros of this type of teacher are basically non-existent, and the cons are pretty clear. So I'm not sure how much more I can say about them. Basically, if you have a narcissist teacher, just let them do their thing and try to keep your head down, because you're not going to learn much from them. The last type of teacher is a hidden gem. Now, when you first see them, you might wonder if they're even a teacher at all. In fact, I had a teacher where I kind of just thought they were an older student because they looked so disheveled and they were carrying a backpack instead of any of the fancy briefcases and things that my other teachers were carrying. Little did I know that that teacher would end up being the most useful and helpful teacher that I would have in my entire career at art school. This is the disheveled professional. Basically, they look like they're kind of on the edge of death half the time because they're actually working in the field while also working their teacher job, which leaves them looking kind of like a zombie and basically just being exhausted all the time. These are also teachers that don't tend to pull as many punches or phrase things in as like art school fancy of ways. Typically, if you did something that looks weird, they'll just be like, hey, that looks weird. What's up with that? Fix that. And that kind of candidness comes from a lot of time working as a professional. Now, these kinds of teachers are great. I highly recommend listening to your teachers who are still working in the field because they are the ones who are the closest to basically being able to give you exactly what you need if you want to work professionally as an artist. I had 2 teachers who technically fit this and they both gave me way better advice than my other teachers who were slightly outside of working as full-time professionals in their field. Now, I don't blame any teachers who don't want to do this, who don't want to be full-time working somewhere else as they full-time work as a teacher, but I will say that the teachers I had who decided to be insane and do that were extremely helpful, and I really appreciate them. The cons of this type of teacher are, like I said, They are kind of a mess sometimes. In fact, sometimes they'll be so sleep deprived from whatever project they're doing that they'll be cranky and snap at you and just be weird, which is not great. But the pros are that they actually understand what you need to do to make it in your field of choice, and oftentimes they're extremely supportive and kind when they realize that you're serious about the field that you're going into. And they have the connections that can actually get you where you need to be. So those were the 5 types of art teachers that I met at art school. Do these remind you of anyone that you know? Are any of you starting art school this September? I know that a lot of you have already started classes, and I am curious to see how they're going. And I hope you guys are having a good time with whatever you're studying right now. I hope also that any teachers out there aren't feeling upset or insulted by this video. It was just for fun, and I promise you, if you care enough to be upset by this kind of video, you are not one of the bad teachers. Before I go, I'm going to be streaming on Twitch this Saturday at 1 p.m. PST. I'm just going to be drawing and maybe playing a little bit of games, but probably mostly drawing. So yeah, if that sounds interesting, please come. There'll be a link to my Twitch channel in the description, and you can just follow my channel and it'll send you an email when I start streaming. I announced last video that there was going to be a contest on Amino where you could draw your OCs and show them to me, and the winner would be featured at the end of a feature video, and now I am going to announce the winner. It was incredibly hard to pick a winner because you guys have an incredible amount of talent and imagination, and I absolutely loved getting to see all of your guys' work. I hope you're all super proud of yourselves. But I had to pick a winner, and I looked them over really carefully, and I decided that Clevo or Clovey, your OC puppet, has won the contest. Now, there's a couple different reasons that this one stood out to me. The style is incredibly cute, and I really, really admire the color palette. The limited color palette that you used is fantastic. I also really enjoyed that you have just the right amount of information about your character, and the idea of a pinata-based character is really, really interesting. I've seen a couple pinata-based character designs before, but I've never seen one that I enjoyed so much and thought was so cute. So congratulations to you. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I just want to sincerely thank everyone who took part. It was really, really, really wonderful to see all of your work, and I hope no one feels discouraged about this contest because honestly, it was incredibly difficult to pick a winner. Phew, that was a lot of announcements. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week. Big thank you to my patrons, including Vilka, Lachlan MD, Christy Stewart, Muffins McGee, Paynamel, Cal Pompone, Yaboy ST, Adrian Delport, Joel Turner, Laura Buter, French Fry Bird, Elizabeth Alvin, Riley James, Super Pixel, Angela Taylor, Violet Wilkes, blah 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 blah, Kate Meekins, Addie Visual, and Live Like Straw. If you would like to hear your name at the end of one of these videos, or would like to see my YouTube art earlier than the YouTube video comes out, you can become a patron too. Just check out the description box for a link to that. Thank you guys so much for your support.